Hey guys, it's Courtney AKA Travel Teach coming at you today with more new information about how to prepare your backdrop for PalFish. So in my last video, I told you that my backdrop is really not cutting it. It's not quite enough for what PalFish is really expecting of new teachers who are doing the interview. So I want to tell you a little bit about the basics of what you need in your backdrop and then show you some better examples from real teachers on PalFish. So let's go. There are three things you need to remember. The first thing is when you are choosing your space, I would suggest to choose a white wall. Either make yourself against the white wall or put yourself in the corner between two white walls. White walls give you plenty of space to decorate, and they look more clean than other wall colors because of the nature of what you're doing. You're showing your hands. We want to be animated. We want to make sure our lighting is good. So being against a white wall is essential when choosing your backdrop. Another thing to consider is that you should be at eye level with the camera. The camera shouldn't be too far above you or too far below you. You don't want to look like you're looking up at students or you're looking down on the students. Another consideration before you make your backdrop, decide if you're going to be sitting or standing. In fact, one of the reasons why my backdrop is a little bit flexible and a little bit more changeable is because of this reason. My desk can be a sitting desk or a standing desk. So I think it's really important for you to decide whether you're going to stand up in your classes and get a standing desk or sit down in all of your classes. Of course, standing is more healthy and what I recommend for you, especially when you're working, 6 to 8 back-to-backs. It's much easier to be standing during that time than it is to be sitting and to hurt your back. So these are just my own 3 considerations. The white wall or the white corner, being at eye level with the camera, and deciding whether you're going to sit or stand. So now let's take a look at the different backdrops that other people have created on PalFish. And I'm going to tell you why I think these backdrops stand out than my own. The first backdrop that we're going to look at is Teacher Shannon's. You can see that Teacher Shannon has written her name across the top in colorful letters. So here, my first point in a backdrop, it should be colorful. It should stand out to students. Here, Teacher Shannon has made some of her own paper flowers, which I think look beautiful. We can see the small PalFish logo to the left side, and we can see that Teacher Shannon wants to make her classroom fun by adding in some characters like the fox, the dog, the boy, the bee, and the butterflies. In my opinion, a classroom should be as colorful as it is educational. Here in Teacher Shanstar's classroom, we can see the numbers, we can see the emotions, the alphabet, a big, bright PalFish logo, and the PalFish fish, along with a map of the world. I think Teacher Shanstar's background stands out a lot because she can actually use it in the classroom when she's counting or when she's asking a student how they feel. Another thing you can notice is that her background is decorated from the corner. So she's sitting in a corner in her house. I think this is great, and I honestly wish I had a corner to utilize as well as this one is. Another consideration for your background is that it should be unique. Here in Miss P's classroom, I love that she has taken her personal hobby of collecting stuffed animals and made it her own backdrop in a way. We can see so many stuffed animals here, and this is so prized for kids because kids love stuffed animals, and especially lots of these characters you can see. In this way, I think her backdrop is not only very catching for kids, but also it shows a part of her unique personality. And we can see on the side, she has monkey, pig, and panda ready to go for those trials. Another part of Miss P's classroom that we can't necessarily see all the time on her backdrop is her real whiteboard and her weather chart. I think these are great additions to have as your own backdrop if you move your camera or if you want to show something different in the classes, because here she can talk about the weather and she can write things in real life. While we have an interactive whiteboard that we can utilize on PalFish, I think that this whiteboard adds a bit of colorfulness and, again, uniqueness to her classroom. Plus, we can see she's got the month at the top and she's got her own drawn PalFish logo. Another consideration when making your backdrop is that it should be relatable. Here we can see Pete's backdrop that he actually made on Photoshop. I think this is really awesome. And as far as I know, he has it printed onto a paper that he can hang anywhere behind him. Not only does this make him very flexible where his classroom can be, but this backdrop in particular makes him very relatable. We can see the 9 animals that are used in trials most commonly, in pre-K trials, starter trials, and level 1 trials. So he's made his backdrop directly relatable to PalFish, which is definitely a strong suit. Plus, of course, he's got the alphabet and the wonderful PalFish logos. In addition, he has his name written on the backdrop, which I think is essential in your classroom. The last backdrop that I would like to look at is actually a picture of TeacherJas's desk. So here we can see all of her props are ready around her. She has lots of other things to perhaps get the students' attention. She has a few letters of the alphabet along with the PalFish logo on a colorful bulletin board behind her. We can also see that when TeacherJas's room is a little bit darker, that she has a pineapple lamp and a desk lamp to brighten up her class. So again, another important thing about the classroom is that the lighting is good as well. You don't want to be too dark and you don't want to be too light so that the students can see you and the props that you are using. So now that we've looked at the different ways to make your classroom's backdrop and we've looked at some examples, I would like to leave you with 3 last tips. Tip 1. If you can use the internet and the resources that you can find online to make your own backdrop, I would suggest to do that. I'm not the most artsy person myself, and making a backdrop is a little bit difficult for me. However, if I think about designing it digitally, I think this is a much better way for me to organize my thoughts, organize the pictures that I want to use, and make use of my graphic design skills. Of course, if you're not good with graphic design, then stick to the arts and crafts way of designing your background. Tip number 2, I would suggest, if you are going to use the digital way, to use Photoshop or to use the free resource of Canva. Canva helps you to create any kind of backdrop, and you can add your own pictures, and it helps to give you some design templates and ways to make your background really stand out. Tip number 3, laminate. Laminate, laminate. Lamination machines, at least here in China, are super cheap. I would suggest laminating everything on your backdrop so that later, if you want to change something, or if you are planning to travel with your background, that everything can come off the wall very easily. Just like this. I can just take it off. And you can use glue tack or tape to stick it up. Okay guys, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. I hope you liked this video. I hope it gave you some clever ideas, better than my own backdrop. And I hope that you will leave me a comment or like and subscribe. Let me know what you want to see, if you want to see more, if you want me to make a specific video. I'm open to ideas, okay? Thanks guys, see you next time. Have a good one.